Hey, what's up? It's Tati and I'm back with another review of WWE Rivals, John Cena versus The Rock. This was an absolute amazing feud between these two, and it happened during a really good time. I would say like around 2010 is where a lot of people started showing a disinterest with WWE. I did too, but I still watched every week. I just didn't feel as entertaining. And I do feel like on the road to WrestleMania 28, having the feud with John Cena and The Rock, and also Triple H and The Undertaker as well, those two things brought in a lot of old fans and new fans to watching WWE. And it was such an entertaining time, and I enjoyed seeing The Rock. Now, growing up, I'm going to say this, people are probably just going to be like, what the hell? But I was not really a fan of The Rock growing up. I gravitated more, obviously, to The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I feel like this feud here made me really have a lot more appreciation for The Rock. So let's get straight into this review. So I would definitely say that after WrestleMania 19, The Rock's wrestling career definitely started to die down. He started starring in movies. First one being The Mummy Returns. He had a smaller role, and he reprised that role in a spin-off called The Scorpion King. And that really helped put his career as an actor into new heights. And since then, he had probably released one movie a year. So his focus went from wrestling to being a full-time movie actor. And by 2004, he was no longer wrestling, and he was doing other things to elevate his movie career. So now WWE needed to have a top guy, and the one they chose was John Cena. Was it the right move? I do believe it was the right move. However, they said something in this episode that I just didn't agree with. They basically said that people began to not like John Cena, such as people booing him and whatnot, because he was the chosen one. I don't think necessarily it was because he was the chosen one. It's just that people had gravitated more towards John Cena when he was the Doctor of Thugonomics. Once they basically changed him into like a Hulk Hogan type of thing, that's when people really was like, we're not feeling this. And sometimes wrestling companies, they have to change a character based off what people really want. And WWE was not backing down with John Cena basically being the Hulk Hogan of WWE. And that right there, I feel like, was a reason why fans just didn't really relate to John Cena because it felt pretty much forced. So now with John Cena as the top guy, we'd often get interviews with John Cena, and he sometimes would mention things about The Rock, how The Rock always said that he would never leave the WWE universe, and he actually have not come back. So he'd throw a little jab at The Rock. So let's fast forward to 2008 during the Hall of Fame induction for Rocky Johnson. The Rock is delivering a speech, and during this speech, he mentions that the U.S. Army would torture the Iraqis by playing the Marine movie because it was so bad. And now this was the first time, I believe, that he actually ever responded to John Cena basically, throwing jabs at him when he do interviews. So that kind of sparked that, I guess, the beginning of their feud. So now let's go back to 2011. And The Rock has come back to the WWE to announce that he will be hosting WrestleMania 27. And during that, he obviously is roasting John Cena. So now we start seeing more and more of this feud coming to life between these two. So now it's WrestleMania 27. The Rock is hosting, and for the main event, we have John Cena versus The Miz in a no disqualification match for the WWE Championship. Now, towards the end of this match, we do have Dwayne Johnson get into this match and puts his nose where it don't belong, and he go ahead and delivers a rock bottom to John Cena. The Miz capitalizes on that moment and he retains the title, and that's where things really popped off for this feud between these two. So now is the Raw after WrestleMania 27. The Rock comes out and he announced that he and John Cena should have a match at WrestleMania 28. So that was announced a whole year before the pay-per-view, and they had more than enough time to build up towards this main event. And the only problem with this was that The Rock still was busy with his acting career. So now the two of them, they would cut promos on each other and not necessarily be in the same place since The Rock was so busy. And a lot of their feud took place on social media, mainly Twitter. Twitter was so popular during that time. So now we did have a lot of exchanges between these two. Some of them are super legendary to me. We do have John Cena, who goes back to his roots, and he's rapping, dissing The Rock. We also have one of my favorite moments where The Rock is in his office and he has a little boy who's like 10 years old come into his office pretending to be John Cena and talking about how he's not talented and give him a box of Fruity Pebbles. Like, all that stuff was just so freaking amazing during that time, and it was so entertaining. So even though The Rock was not physically there at the arenas most of the time, it still was great entertainment, and it still felt like there was a build-up going towards WrestleMania 28, and it really got people pumped to towards going to that pay-per-view. Now, we do have people who are fans who continue to watch, and then we have some new fans coming in, and people who just want to support The Rock, since he's, a great actor and whatnot. So a lot of new people started gravitating towards WWE during this time, and it was a really good time to be a fan. Now WWE is gearing towards their Survivor Series pay-per-view. The Rock had just finished wrapping up the G.I. Joe movie, and now his schedule is cleared. So they need to get his ass in the ring before WrestleMania. So John Cena is still feuding with The Miz and R-Truth as well. And he proposes that they have a tag team match. And the only person he knows that can be his partner is The Rock. Even though they're feuding, he still feels like The Rock is the best person to be his partner. Now, it's Survivor Series, and everybody's absolutely pumped up to see The Rock back in action in the ring. He comes back, and he absolutely still fucking got it. And he's still amazing in the ring. Now, during this match, we do see that there are issues still between The Rock and John Cena, and that still carries out throughout the match. However, it was The Rock that ends up getting the win for his team, delivering a rock bottom, and now this feud is getting even better. After the Survivor Series pay-per-view, we still had nights where The Rock could not attend live shows due to prior engagements. Now, we finally had a night where we had both John Cena and The Rock at Monday Night Raw. So The Rock is in the ring and he's cutting his promo. And then we have John Cena in the back who's scheduled to interrupt The Rock's promo. And about less than 2 minutes before John Cena comes out, someone that John Cena does not want to name had told him to look at The Rock's wrist, that he has words written on his wrist. Those words are there so he could remember what to say during his promo. And to be completely honest, that was very shocking. Number one, because it was The Rock. He always just come up with things from the top of his head and everything just flows naturally. And it's just something that we never really see in the wrestling world, where people just write words on their wrist. I'm not going to say it's never been done. I can't think of any at this moment. But for him to have like a black Sharpie, and it was really, really visible because that was the hand that he was using to hold the mic. I know he wrote it in that hand, so it's easier to see since his hand's like this. But people was just like, whoa, this is just not the way to go when you're delivering a promo. And it made people feel like maybe The Rock isn't as great as he used to be. After that moment, we do have really great exchanges between the two. We do have The Rock doing his rock concert where he's decimating John Cena. And then we have John Cena, who comes back as a Dr. Thugonomics for one night only. And he also decimates The Rock with his rap as well. And people were absolutely pumped and ready for WrestleMania 28. So now is WrestleMania 28, and I'm ashamed to say this. I went to WrestleMania 28 and I was decked out in John Cena gear. That will never ever happen again. And it never has since then. If you have not been to WrestleMania before, I'm telling you, it does not compare to going to like a Monday Night Raw or to a SmackDown. It is a whole different experience, and it was one of the coolest experiences that I've ever experienced in my life. Now let's get back to the main event. We have John Cena and we have The Rock. Now, the crowd was divided. I don't really remember watching the pay-per-view like on TV after to see what it was like. Normally when I go to a show, I'll actually watch it back, but I don't remember doing this for WrestleMania. Oh, you know what? I did do it for The Undertaker's match. But I don't remember about the main event. But it really seemed like the crowd was divided when I was there. People cheering for The Rock, people cheering for John Cena. Going into this, I really felt like The Rock was going to win. But, you know, during this time, I was head over heels for John Cena for a bit. For whatever reason, I was delusional. And I was really hoping that John Cena would have won that match. Now, towards the end of the match, we do have a series of counters between these two. And then we have John Cena going to hit a people's elbow onto The Rock. And The Rock was like, hell to the nah. He got up and he delivered a rock bottom. Ref count 1, 2, 3. And he's the winner. Now, I suspected that. These two actually end up hugging it out after the match, showing some mutual respects. And even after they went backstage, they did get a chance to talk with each other. And John Cena let The Rock know that even when things seems to be really serious between us, it was all business and no beef. Soon later, we had the 1000th episode of Raw. And that was a fateful night where Raw became a 3-hour show. That really killed it for me. Anyway, moving on, these two end up showing some mutual respect for each other in front of a live audience. So now, fast forward to the next Royal Rumble in 2013. John Cena wins this. And then the main event for that same pay-per-view was The Rock versus CM Punk. The Rock beat CM Punk for the WWE title. And you already know, whoever wins the Royal Rumble match goes against the champion. So now we have the twice-in-a-lifetime match between John Cena and The Rock. So now we're on the road to WrestleMania 29, and John Cena says he actually had more fun the second go around with this feud, and then he got a chance to work with The Rock behind the scenes. Now, the only complaint I have about this episode is once they mentioned WrestleMania 29, they pretty much just jumped straight into the match. They didn't really go towards mentioning, you know, little smaller details within that feud. So they just went straight towards the match. Now, The Rock, he knows that he's not going to be a wrestler forever. Matter of fact, he don't even want to be wrestling anymore. And he wants to continue his career as an actor. So he knows he has to do the traditional thing in professional wrestling and drop the title to the next big dude while you're on the way out the door. And the best guy, I guess you can say, was John Cena. So John Cena ends up winning the title at WrestleMania 29. And The Rock does acknowledge that, you know, he's a great wrestler and, you know, he's the top guy for WWE. And The Rock also says that that was the greatest moment of his career. Now, ironically enough, John Cena becomes exactly what he was chastising The Rock about, which was him leaving the wrestling business to become a movie star. And we even had John Cena come back on Monday Night Raw this week. Now he has a match against Austin Theory for WrestleMania 39, and I can care less. It is just not the same compared to what we got with The Rock. This feud was absolutely amazing from top to bottom with The Rock and John Cena. And we haven't really seen anything like it since. It was great to see those moments. I really wish this episode was a little bit longer so we can see some of those moments. But a lot of these things are on YouTube. So if you want to relive this feud with John Cena and The Rock, go on YouTube. Everything is there for you to see. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. I'll be back later on with my review on Dynamite. Bye.